My name is Camille Owens. I'm a 3-time graduate from UNLV, and I'm an alum of sorts of the Early Outreach Division. And I'm also a CCSD middle school math teacher. I will be reading for you guys today The Outsiders. It's one of my favorite books, and I get really excited when my students read the book in their English class and we get a chance to discuss it and what it means to them. Chapter 1. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, I had only 2 things on my mind: Paul Newman and a ride home. I was wishing I looked like Paul Newman. He looks tough and I don't, but I guess my own looks aren't so bad. I have light brown, almost red hair and greenish gray eyes. I wish they were more gray because I hate most guys that have green eyes, but I have to be content with what I have. My hair is longer than a lot of boys wear theirs, squared off in the back and long at the front and sides, but I am a greaser, and most of my neighborhoods really bother to get a haircut. Besides, I look better with long hair. I had a long walk home and no company, but I usually loan it anyways, for no reason except that I like to watch movies undisturbed so I can get into them and live them without the actors. When I see a movie with someone, it's kind of uncomfortable, like having someone read your book over your shoulder. I'm different that way. I mean, my second oldest brother, Soda, who is 16 going on 17, never cracks a book at all. And my oldest brother, Daryl, who we call Derry, works too long and hard to be interested in a story or drawing a picture. So I'm not like them. And nobody in our gang digs movies and books the way I do. For a while there, I thought I was the only person in the world that did, so I loaned it. Soda tries to understand at least, which is more than Derry does, but then Soda is different from anybody. He understands everything, almost, like he's never hollering at me all the time the way Derry is, or treating me as if I were 6 instead of 14. I love Soda more than I've ever loved anyone, even Mom and Dad. He's always happy-go-lucky and grinning, while Derry's hard and firm, rarely grins at all. But then Derry's gone through a lot in his 20 years, grown up too fast. Soda Pop never understand at all. I don't know which way's the best. I'll find out one way, one of these days. Anyways, I went on walking home, thinking about the movie and then suddenly wishing I had some company. Greasers can't walk alone too much or they'll get jumped or someone will come by and scream greaser at them, which doesn't make you feel too hot. If you know what I mean, we get jumped by the socials. I'm not sure how you spell it, but it's like the abbreviation for the socials, the jet set, the West Side rich kids. It's the term greaser, which is used to class all of us boys on the East Side. We are poorer than the socials and the middle class. I reckon we're wilder too. Not like the socials who jump greasers and wreck houses and throw beer bottles for kicks and get editorials in the paper for being a public disgrace one day and an asset to the society the next. Greasers are almost like hoods. We steal things and drive old souped up cars and hold up gas stations and have a gang fight once in a while. I don't mean I do things like that. Derry would kill me if I got in trouble with the police. Since Mom and Dad were killed in an auto wreck, the 3 of us get to stay together only as long as we behave. So Soda and I stay out of trouble as much as we can, and we're careful not to get caught when we can't. I only mean that most greasers do things like that, just like we wear our hair long and dress in blue jeans and t-shirts or leave our shirt tails out and wear leather jackets and tennis shoes or boots. I'm not saying that either socials or greasers are better. That's just the way things are. I could have waited to go to the movies until Derry or Soda Pop got off work. They would have gone with me or driven me there or walked along, although Soda just can't sit still long enough to enjoy a movie and they bore Derry to death. Derry thinks his life is enough without inspecting other people's. Or I could have gone one of the gang to come along. One of the 4 boys Derry, Soda, and I have grown up with and consider family. We're almost as close as brothers. When you grow up in a tight-knit neighborhood like ours, you get to know each other real well. If I had thought about it, I could have called Derry and he would have come by on his way home and picked me up. Or 2-Bit Matthews, one of our gang, would have come to get me in his car if I had asked him. But sometimes I just don't use my head. It drives my brother Derry nuts when I do stuff like that because I'm supposed to be smart. I make good grades and I have a high IQ and everything, but I just don't use my head. Besides, I like walking. I about decided I didn't like it so much though when I spotted the red Corvair trailing me. It was almost 2 blocks from home then, so I started walking a little faster. I've never been jumped, but I had seen Johnny after 4 socials got a hold of him, and it wasn't pretty. Johnny was scared of his own shadow after that. Johnny was 16 then. I knew it wasn't any use though, the fast walking. I mean, even before the Corvair pulled up beside me and 5 socials got out, I got pretty scared. I'm kind of small for 14, even though I have a good build. And those guys were bigger than me. I automatically hitched my thumbs into my jeans and slouched, wondering if I could get away if I made a break for it. I remember Johnny, his face all cut up and bruised, and I remember how he had cried when we found him, half conscious in the corner lot. Johnny had it awful rough at home. It took a lot to make him cry. I was sweating something fierce, although I was cold. I could feel my palms getting clammy and the perspiration running down my back. I get like this when I'm real scared. I glanced around for a pop bottle or a stick or something. Steve Randall, Soda Pop's best buddy, had once held off 4 guys with a busted pop bottle, but there was nothing, so I stood there like a bump on a log while they surrounded me. I don't use my head. They walked around slowly, silently, smiling. "Hey, Grease," one said in an overly friendly voice. "We're gonna do you a favor, Greaser. We're gonna cut all that long, greasy hair off." He had on a Madras shirt. I can still see it, blue. One of them laughed, then cussed me out in a low voice. I couldn't think of anything to say. There just isn't a whole lot you can say while waiting to get mugged, so I kept my mouth shut. "Need a haircut, Greaser?" The medium-sized blonde pulled a knife out of his back pocket and flipped the blade open. I finally thought of something to say. No. I was backing up, away from the knife. Of course, I backed right into one of them. They had me down in a second. They had my arms and legs pinned down, and one of them was sitting on my chest with his knees on my elbows, and if you don't think that hurts, you're crazy. I could smell English leather shaving lotion and stale tobacco, and I wonder foolishly if I would suffocate before they did anything. I was scared so bad I was wishing I would. I fought to get loose, and I almost did for a second. Then they tightened up on me, and the one on my chest slugged me a couple of times, so I lay still, swearing at them between gasps. A blade was held against my neck. "How you like that haircut to begin, just below the chin?" It occurred to me that they could kill me. I went wild. I started screaming for soda, dairy, anyone. Someone put his hands over my mouth, and I bit it as hard as I could, tasting the blood running through my teeth. I hear a muttered curse and got slugged again. And they were stuffing a handkerchief in my mouth. One of them kept saying, "Shut him up, for Pete's sake, shut him up." Then there were shouts and the pounding of feet, and the socials jumped up and left me laying there gasping. I lay there and wondered in the world what was happening. People were jumping over me and running by me, and I was too dazed to figure it out. And that is 6 pages more than about the rivalry between the socials and the greasers. It's about finding that connection between people that might not look like you or act like you or come from the same background of you, as well as about the importance of family and friends.